So we have things now like GoFundMe and Patreon on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. So you can donate on YouTube now to a channel. Yeah.
That's already
Um,
making money.
yeah. So how do we, those channels, GoFundMe, Patreon, that's for the younger consumer. How do you educate? Like, what are ways we can educate the younger generation to be like, hey, be mindful about what you're giving your money to?
Because it starts with the parents. They're learning from the parents. So all nonprofits have turned into fundraisers over the last 25 years, realistically. And it's always about me. I have a story, me, and whoever. And so I think when you look at, I think Alzheimer's is the easiest example. There's a National Alzheimer's Association. They gather the funds, they have certain events, and it could be a breakfast where there's a speaker, educational, you hear the story, you give, and you move on. Or you do a walk, t-shirts, but your awareness is going way up because you're sharing stories. And now, the last 10 years, because of the services you just mentioned, the GoFundMe's and all, I have my dad, I think I started talking this the other day, my dad dies of dementia, Alzheimer's. Well, now I want to be the center of attention because I need it so bad. So I put t-shirts together with my dad's face on it. I started a nonprofit. Nobody questions it. I live in an affluent neighborhood. I work for one of the big companies, a big employee base, and everybody says, let's support this cause for Barry Senior. Well, meanwhile, that money comes in, and let's say I do an event, black tie gala and a rodeo, and I make $100,000. The event just cost me 50,000. So I really only netted out 50. But then I got to get paid because I got time and money, and I got my car, and I got to have clothes, and those are all expenses that can be net. When I get down to it, I got 10,000 left. And what do I do with it? I have to put my father's name on it in my mind because that's why I just did all this in his memory versus if I just would have joined up with Alzheimer's and raised all that awareness and raised 200,000, where would it be? And as I've said, when I went to Liberty and I heard the leadership in Africa, 17 countries, the question was asked, what about that UNICEF box that we all used to have pictures of the people with no teeth? They weigh about 20 pounds and they're starving to death with no water. Well, that was my generation in the 1960s. And it was asked, somebody raised their hand and said to this, people in the know, where did that go? Why are the same people in the commercials? The money never made it here. Never ever made it here. So yeah, those are still the same people. Yeah, they're long gone, but the people are still running the same scam, same thing. So, and so it's somebody dies in a DUI. My brother, God forbid, DUI, and I start a team for him. I start a nonprofit. Where do I start a team at MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, get t-shirts, raise walkers and awareness. Nonprofits are about awareness and education. That's why fentanyl, we want to all approve the marijuana. We want to be cool. Every state wants to do it. Every parent wants to do it. But we're not paying attention to this little thing called fentanyl that's coming over the border. Right now, they're at about, I think they said, 210 million people can be killed. That's 2/3 of our population today. That's what's here right now. So if we don't keep talking about the right things and educating them, and we're getting talking points over here, that's the problem with these nonprofits and these events that they continue to do with theme parties. High society, they drink cocktails, they love it, and then they go out like that cancer vet cattle bearers ball. People drop $500 to $1,000 in outfits. Why don't you just give them money? Why be away from your family for that one night to go party and drink? Go out to a party think of the bowling alley like we used to do. But these nonprofit events have gotten so cool You got every picture on social media, but you're nobody. And that's where it is. So I think the nonprofit flavor, as we talk about food bank and starving people, and how do we not know today what it's going to take to get people to get their own food on the table? Why do they have to go pick it up like poor people do in Moscow or wherever, some third world country? Why are we doing that?
The scary thing is with a lot of the food banks, you don't have to show any type of credentials to go get that food. So I could just want a new pair of shoes this week. And so I'm going to go to the food bank that's open and I'm going to get my groceries there. So I don't have to go to the grocery store and I can afford my new Jimmy Choos. I mean, there's no checks and balances whatsoever. And, they don't want to hurt people's feelings by making them prove that they actually need it. But at what cost? Because then by the time the people that really need it are able to get there and get through the line, there's no food left because you have selfish people out there, and there are plenty of them that get in that line first. They're waiting because as soon as I get these groceries in my car, then I can hit the mall and, get my kid their Nikes and, however you want to look at it. But there's absolutely nothing that stops people from doing that.
So we had a couple ideas. We had put a cap on the number of nonprofits. We had, force the government to be more involved in stopping those things. What's the ultimate decision? Are they beneficial or are they not beneficial, nonprofits?
I would say 97% are not.
I think, yeah, like if we have one that's like, okay, you specialize in this, and there's not 30 that are all claiming to do the same thing, that's where they're beneficial. But when you have, 30, 40, 50 in the same area that are all claiming to cure homelessness or, fight hunger or do this or do that, and they're not doing it, then I don't think that they're necessarily beneficial.
Can you do a search there, food banks or something, or organization for that drug? How many organizations are against that drug?
Let's see. I'm curious too.
I always give to Feed More and San You. And I was thinking of another organization that I went to a gala and everything, but they never say where the money goes. We ask them, how much have you donated? What can you see there? They're gonna stop being my friend.
Well, for a charity, that's all public information. So you
Also, I can
look
put
that
the
up.
name of the charity and find out.
I'm at 52 and I'm still counting for food banks in Richmond. Just so you know.
52 food
I'm
banks?
still counting.
Every church volunteers to that organization or those 62. Those people really, really think they're helping, are they? Versus Caritas actually really makes a difference. But they used to be the program, but money's being siphoned off. These little programs, it's all about ego.
Well, here's
It's
the
just like,
thing.
yeah,
Well, their program is too, like they do the educational piece and the housing piece, like Caritas really does it.
you do it all.
They do it all.
Well organized, and that saved many lives, many families. But it goes back to, you see a family, I go by the one on 95, 5 wooden crosses, right? The family was died there. That didn't happen 30 years ago, 40 years ago. People died in a car crash. They were buried and went to a cemetery. Now it's all about, I've got to be involved. It's not about the dead person, it's about the living person. And they've got to see that. They got to make the point. But they never understood that. That's a personal thing. But that's a little bit like the nonprofits. It's got to be me in the center. If I get infected, it's got to be about me, not about we. And to prevent it from the future. We all have kids might be affected, or nephews or nieces or whatever.
Maybe it could also be the fact of maybe there are some out there that are trying to do the right thing, but they're just throwing paper at a wall, just a brick wall, and they don't really know how to. So it's also just us as a collective trying to figure out what will work. And also help those nonprofits trying to figure out, what will stick and what will help homeless people or drug abuse.
You think about like state corporation commission, you can't have multiple people register under the same name. So why can't they have some sort of registry like that where they regulate how many people are starting these nonprofits?
That's a good point. Just make the government big.
Not a good idea.
Then they're gonna charge of taxes to do that. But maybe they don't need to create a new organism. Use one of them and then they are ready.
I feel like if you want to compile it into one organization, then you're going to get the, well, it's mine. No, it's mine. If you,
Because it's great.
yeah. And then that's when you're going to get all the people who actually do want it for money. It's going to start, they're going to start showing up highlighted a little bit more, as opposed to the people who actually want to make a change.
I think too, of like, there's companies, like food companies that say you're a restaurant and you pre-bake or you pre-make all of this food and your company policy is to trash it at the end of the day. But then there's businesses whose company policy is to donate it, to give it to the community. So is that not a responsibility too, like as a human?
What happened is that here there are too many things, because if they give something that no one eat it, then they can be sued. If it wasn't the temperature perfect, if the people get sick or something. So sometimes it's a liability to give the food to people. That's why everything is so complicated here. That's why the neighbor don't pick anyone from the floor. No, the 911. I'm not gonna be sued because I didn't push him right away. And you go.
Sure, yeah.
So there are too many laws so it touches your hands. I realized, why do they have 911? Yeah, because no one will pick you. Yeah. In other countries, the neighbor will pick you up, but then he won't get sued if he pick you wrong, So.
That's a topic for another day. You're right about that. I have my own opinion
Oh,
about
yes.
that. But
Yes, issue is enough. So at Amazon, a couple weeks ago, they were told here, so Amazon has funded a lot of companies like changemaker. They're a big help, right? And we've been around for how long? 20 years, right? Legitimate organization, we have a platform. And yet that night, what I learned is there was 4 other partners who came up and spoke. Guess what? Nonprofits set up to help protect consumers.
Wow.
And Amazon is funding them also. So maybe they all would just fall in here. How does that happen with a company like Amazon? Somebody got their ear and somebody said this one, and now it's gonna get. But here we are. We're here. Alzheimer's, American Cancer, Kidney Foundation, all big, massive machines doing research, massive doing research. These other small little things aren't doing anything. These people, I mean, I looked at them. How could they be helping people, consumers, like we can? We know what we are behind in and what our systems work at Blue and all the data we collect. How could these companies be needed, these nonprofits? They were all getting paid. They were all there that night. Executive directors giving their speeches. They were feeling good. They were feeling really good. They might have 3 on their staff. They're getting funded by the big one. Right? So someday that gig will be.
Another door to we go to Amazon and say, well, what about ours?
They're already there. Another level. Yeah. How'd it go, Eddie?
all right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. I think we got at least a little bit out of it. Hopefully the next ones will be just as nice and maybe we can find a solution.